All right. This is one of the most exciting things about this car is just getting in and getting set up. Starts up real nice. The car right now is a little cold, so we're going to go through the gears slowly until we get the car up to temperature, and then we'll get the RPMs up. Notice first to third, the second gear is not very pleasant when the car's not warm. So this is pretty typical for most Ferraris. After it does get warm, second gear, it slides right in. One of the things that I have not gone through with this car is actually the suspension in terms of the front end. Some of those bushings and stuff probably could stand to be replaced. Less of the squeaking. This car for me has actually always been a driver. It's very nice to me if I drive it regularly. I like to assimilate it to a racehorse in the sense that you got or a girlfriend or your dog. You do need to care for it. You need to utilize the car on a regular basis. The car for me has been relatively inexpensive to maintain over the last 5 years. I average about $2,000 a year in maintenance on the car. It is driven 3 to 4 days a week. Anytime that the car, due to rain or something, is put away for sleep time, a little hibernation, it becomes a little difficult, and so sometimes we have to run through it and problems do arise. My most costly investments are when I let the car sit a little bit too long. This car does create a lot of tension when it's parked and it's around. But again, it is a driver. It's not meant to be put in the garage and left there for Sunday driving. It will punish you. The compression on the car is almost perfect. According to the mechanics, which listed below that have maintained the car, they haven't ever seen an engine perform as well as this one does for this type of car. We're almost coming up to temperature here, so we're going to start accelerating a little bit more, and we're going to bring it up. See, even these guys, see? Check it out. There he is. Admirer. These cars oftentimes have been put to rest, so to speak, as parts cars and whatnot. There's not very many cars. As they continue to destroy and dismantle these cars, I imagine that the desire to have one will be increasing. It's also very comfortable to drive if you want to drive it to work all the day. One of the things that I've done to justify the expense is that current price for a Honda Civic is now about $18,000. You can buy that car and spend $2,000 to $3,000 a year on it in terms of payments, and by the end of the 5 years, it'll be worth nothing or very little. This car, you can spend about the same amount of money over those 5 years, or less, presumably less, a lot less, about $8,000 less, unless you do something stupid, and you're driving a Ferrari and you're laughing. The clutch has been replaced several years ago. It's still got a lot of life left in it. As far as mechanical stuff, is I have replaced the motor mounts. I put 412 motor mounts in the car. Much more stable. I've also replaced fuel pumps, water pumps, one of the catalytic converters. The other one's still good. All the lights and the blinkers work, even the fog lights, the interior lights. Air conditioning. The air compressor works fine. It will blow cold. However, it's not blowing cold today, especially because it needs to be recharged again. You do need to do this every year and a half or so. This last summer was not extraordinarily hot, so this year I decided not to do it. It is something that you find is necessary, you can do it. All the fans, they work. Heater obviously works. The stereo in the car is not original. This was replaced sometime in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. It kind of sucks, doesn't work very well. Quite frankly, I don't know why you need it anyways. In the car use, I rarely even turn it on. All the windows roll up and down under their own power. However, I will say the right one does stick a little bit. But as you probably know, Ferraris aren't really known for their power windows. Right now we're almost at the temperature, getting closer, running up to about 4,000 RPM in good shifts. So this car has given me loads of satisfaction. For a first Ferrari, I've learned a lot, and I'm really thankful that it's treated me so well, this car. I go on the internet and I read about all the horror stories, and I think oftentimes selecting the right one is probably 90% of the battle. I know for a fact that this car, you can't get them cheap. You can find them really inexpensive, and you can plow a lot more money into them. Unfortunately, because of the way the economy is and how people view these cars, probably in the near future they aren't going to be worth a fortune. However, there is still a draw to having a car like this. Justifying it is difficult. However, this particular car, you couldn't find another car than California, driving California the 5-speed and pay a little bit of money and not spend an absolute fortune getting it up to snuff. This is one of those rare finds where you'll be able to get something like this at a reasonable amount of money, this specific car, and you won't have to dump tons and tons of money into it to get up to this caliber. So I think comparing this car to a lot of other cars that may be on the market, I think you're going to be very hard pressed to find a car that's in California, legal in California, with the barcode, in this kind of condition, drives this well, the engine mechanically this good, and tell me that there's other cars that are worth the same, because it's just simply not possible. Obviously, I'm not expecting to get the world out of this thing, but it's not a giveaway either. And I'm quite reasonable, and I do believe that somebody else should enjoy this car as I have, because I want to enjoy some other things as well.